Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jaclyn Hill, and on this channel we talk all things beauty, makeup, technique, stuff like that. So today on this channel I'm actually really excited because during the past 2 weeks I've gotten some questions in regards to eyeshadow application, eyeshadow brushes, primers, what should I use. And so this video is really going to focus on the eye look, this eye look here. Although I'm using it in reference to the colors I'm applying today, you can take these tips and techniques and use them to any type of eyeshadow. The spotlight, a smoky eye, a cut crease, because we did kind of like a half cut crease today. I'm showing you techniques into why I'm using the different size brushes, the different hair like bristles, whether it's natural or synthetic. So I hope that you guys really like this video. I will link the Morphe website down below because the majority of the brushes that I use are Morphe brushes. They are in the Jaclyn Hill collection, but you can definitely purchase these brushes individually and they're so inexpensive. They've lasted me years. Very good quality. I always use them, especially when I was freelancing. I still use them now and I really do like them. So I'm gonna stop talking, keep this intro short. Again, it is focused just on the eyes, but I will link the rest of the look down below. Guys, I cannot wait. Tell me what you think. Hit the thumbs up button at the end of the video. Let me know, comment, ask me questions. I'm excited because I feel like I'm gonna do a lot more teaching. I don't think that it's being done enough now on YouTube. And you guys have questions, I have answers. Let's get to it. Okay, so we're gonna start with one eye done and the other one not, because I just kind of wanted to be able to walk you guys through it and kind of know what I was doing. So we are here. The first thing we're gonna do is start with some primer. This is, if you have been following me for a little bit, you know that this is my favorite primer of all time, the Urban Decay Eden primer. I love Eden just because it is a matte finish, but because it's got some color to it, and I do have a little bit of veins show through, and I like the way that it just leaves me with a neutral canvas, and I can just start with a nice, fresh, all evened out base. So I first just kind of take it with a brush, go all the way even almost to like my brow bone area, connect it with my concealer that I use to correct, and then I will blend it out everywhere. After I feel like it's pretty good, I even take my finger through it just because sometimes it can not be as smooth as you think, and the only true way to tell is by touching and feeling, and that's what the finger is for. So first of all, excuse my nails. I am headed to an appointment after this to get them done. Don't judge your girl. So this is pretty much it. I get asked a lot of questions. How do you make your eyeshadow last? How do you make it bolder, stronger? Primer is gonna be what you need. I like that one just because, again, I like to start with a nice, fresh, even neutral lid. There are many different primers. Some even have shimmer to make your look easier. Some are just completely see-through. Some have other colors like a base, a pink, a blue, a green to help you with a colorful look. This one has just been my go-to for years and I love it. So we're gonna move on, and what I'm gonna do now is actually introduce you guys to my favorite fall palette of all time, like all time. And this is the Morphe. It comes as one, so the Morphe 350 palette. I know you guys are familiar with it, but I actually have two of them. So there's a 350M and the 350S. And the difference between the two is one is all mattes, and they're very well loved, as you can tell. This is all the matte colors here. It's perfect, like this screams fall. It screams, goodness. And this is the shimmer palette. So it's literally well used and well loved, but I love all of these shades. Very beautiful, very pretty palette to play with. If you are looking for a fall palette to invest in, I would highly recommend, you don't have to get them separate like I did, but they come together. The 350 palette comes with like a mix of shimmers and mattes that's super pretty for fall. So I highly recommend that. So we're gonna go into the M palette, the matte palette first, and I'm gonna take this shade right here. So I know that I always recommend that you guys set your primer with like a loose powder or a pressed powder. This is what I love, this shade here. I'm just not gonna go into my palette and open this one up for like one eyeshadow color, but now that I use it, I'm gonna use that. It's like a bone colored eyeshadow. Again, you can use a loose powder or you can even use your pressed face powder. I just like this because it continues to color correct and blend out and matte out any of the imperfections, any darkness, hyperpigmentation that you might have. It's beautiful. And then of course I always set so that when I'm applying other shadows, they just go on smoother, which is ideal, an ideal situation. So I'm only gonna record the eyeshadow part of this because I've been getting a lot of questions about eyeshadow application, eyeshadow brushes lately, and I just feel like if I were to go in and do my entire face, it would be a 2-hour-long video, and I know that's not okay. So we're gonna start with the eyeshadow, and we're gonna go in to create this look right here. We're gonna need to use some crease colors, and we're gonna start with that first. So I'm gonna use this brush right here, and I just wanna throw this out there. A rule of thumb for me personally when I am choosing eyeshadow brushes is the larger the brush, the larger the area that we're covering, the lighter the color usually is. The smaller the brush, the smaller, more definition we're trying to do, which means we're going in with some darker colors or even maybe some shimmers. Because if you think about it, you don't really want to place black everywhere on your eye unless that's the look that you're going for. And you'd start off with a smaller brush when you're using those colors. Okay, so we're going to use this brush right here. This guy is JH30, and the reason I'm using this is again because it's a nice big fluffy brush. I want to cover a large area. I want to be able to blend. And when I'm holding this brush, I need you guys to do it further back than closer. Think of it as when you were learning to write cursive, the more pressure that you put on the brush, the thicker, the chunkier the line comes out, and that's not what we want. We want a nice blend, so just hold it back. When I'm teaching clients that are new to blending with eyeshadow for the first time, place your elbow on the surface that you're using, whether it's your bathroom or your makeup desk, and try to use your wrist versus your entire arm when you're blending. Okay, so we're gonna go into this color right here. I gotta find myself. This guy right here. And I know that it's like a taupey tan color and it doesn't look like much, but that is a really nice crease color, and it changes a little when it goes on my lid, so I can only imagine that it'll change on yours. So I'm gonna pick up a nice amount, always get rid of excess by tapping. And so what you're going to do is you are going to place this right in the crease area. Crease area is considered the area that is in between the brow bone and your actual eyes, like in that eye socket. And so I always place the first amount of color on the outer corner. All that does for me is just deposits the most color there so that I can easily diffuse into the inner corner and easily diffuse up. And that's the idea when you're blending your eyeshadow. You want it to blend up. You want it to diffuse, smoke out, disappear, however you want to define that. You want to make sure that the color is boldest in the center of your eye and it's either fading out or fading into something. So we're going to continue to build on that color, and that's why I really like starting with a color like this, because you can build and add as you go. Take your time with it. It's always a matter of just really stopping and looking. I look at my monitor here and I compare it to the other side. I have a mirror that I use close up, and that is just so that I have two viewpoints, further and closer. So this is what you guys are gonna see when you're looking at me if you're standing a decent distance away, and this is what I see whenever I'm looking into the mirror. So it's always good to have two different views to compare yourself to, because it could look bomb close up, and then when you look back, you're like, oh my God, that is like not appropriate. So we're just gonna keep blending. Again, circular motions. With this color, I'm honestly not too worried about where it lands, but you could always tilt your head back to find your crease, your socket area, and it always helps to keep it into that space versus going up too high and hitting your brow bone. Don't ever forget this outer corner. I forget it all the time, and it's the most awkward thing ever, because when you go to blend things out or clean it up, you have this space that has no color, and it's very weird. Okay, awesome. So now I'm gonna go into my next crease color, and I am going to pick, there's two brushes here that I would consider, and I'm gonna just show you both of them, and I'll tell you why I choose the one that I choose. So these are both blending brushes, except there's a difference between this one, and that is that this one is going up to a point and it's fluffier. This one is flat. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then obviously this is a synthetic and this is a natural hair brush. So the synthetic brushes to me help build intensity and boldness in a color, and the natural hairbrushes help to just kind of blend them out a little better. And so because I'm going for a blend and not necessarily packing colors on, I'm gonna choose this one. So again, compared to our first blending brush, this is just a little smaller. It's got a flat tip versus the tapered end, and it's gonna help me focus the color in a specific area versus covering a wider area. Make sense? Okay, so the next color we're gonna go into is this orange right here. I freaking love this color. I would never ever like look at it and just pick it out on my own. Like if I were building a palette, I'd probably go for something a little less bright, but it is the prettiest color, and that's really like the glowiness that you see in the crease area is this color here. So what I'm gonna do again is we're gonna start in this outer corner and deposit most of the color there. And once I see that it's starting to lighten up a little bit, we're gonna bring that into the inner corner. This color is gonna overpower our first color, and it will probably show up more than the first color, but that's okay, because that first color really is just a map out of our eye shape, and it's really a guide that we use for the other colors. That's really all that crease shade is, but it is very important. Don't get me wrong. Don't think that you can just skip it, because you cannot. It is very important that you use that first blending shade to help all the other colors just kind of blend and diffuse one into the other. Okay, great. So once we have that color on, we're gonna go back into our primer, the Urban Decay primer, and we're gonna just put that, instead of applying it directly onto the eyelid, I'm gonna just put a little bit on the back of my hand. And I'm gonna pick up a synthetic flat brush. That looks like this guy right here. So this brush is gonna help me define and map out my lid so that I am able to create that half cut crease that we've got going on. So I start by putting it in the inner corner first. And then I'll pause for a second and just kind of look up and let my lid touch where it would naturally, and then we're gonna continue to carve out. So what I recommend you do is alternate between the brush and your finger for this process. And this is my reasoning behind it. Again, when we did it first, you don't really know if it's like a bunch of product piled up under each other, so it's easier if you just use your finger to feel out for texture, and it always ends up smoothing it out better than what the actual brush does. So I just always recommend that, just so that, perfect. Okay, cool. So we've got our half cut crease in, I like it. All right, so before we go with any shimmers, we're gonna use our darker shades first, always dark, and go back to the light so that we can finish with ideal amount of pigment there in that outer corner. And so I'm gonna go in with a brush like this guy. This is again a blending brush. I know we've used 4 blending brushes already, but again, the sizes are different, and that is ideal for when you are applying color. So this one is still a nice long bristle. It's densely packed there, so that means that I'm gonna get a good blend out of it, a good payoff out of it, but it's still gonna help me blend. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some reds, or bright oranges, however you wanna describe those. I'm gonna work with this guy, and then I'm gonna take that guy too. I'm gonna toggle back and forth between the two to create that color out there in the outer corner. So deposit the most color in the outer corner, and I'm really just pouncing this color out there because you want to make sure that you build the color before you blend. So that is what I'm going to do first, is just tap, tap, tap to create some intensity, get the payoff that I want, and then we can blend up. It is very light pressure that I'm using when I'm blending up into this because I want everything to fade into each other. I want it to be smooth, cohesive, no streaks, but I want... So the next thing we're gonna do is go into our 3OS. I love the colors in this palette. They're so pretty. So the 3OS is gonna be all shimmers like I showed you, and I'm gonna take this guy right here. This one, and I'm gonna mix it with a little bit of this one here to get the finish that I want, the undertones, if you will. So I'm gonna use another flat brush, except this one in comparison to this one, where am I? Is a little thicker. I suck at this, okay. So it's a little thicker, if you can see, so this is gonna be nice for packing on the color, building it, versus this one's more for defining, mapping out, shaping. So let's take this guy here, and I am going to pack some color on, and then the other tip that I'm gonna give you is use a setting spray to kind of help wet the color a little, and it'll come out foiled. Very pretty. You guys see that? Woo! And so I want you to take it and pat it in between this shimmer and the red that we just put down so that it blends into each other like that. And so I'm gonna take that second shade, and this might just be me being picky, and you can't really tell on camera, but I can see it here. And I want it to have more of a like taupe undertone versus like a bright white that first one has. So that's why I'm taking the second shade that I showed you. I'm blending it over. So we're gonna go back into the red brush, not additional product, just the brush itself, and we are going to just take that and blend in between the two shimmer shades to make sure everything is blending pretty, and it is, look at that. It's so beautiful. And you guys can see how that orange created a nice halo. Like I love it. Okay, so move on. The next thing we're gonna do is take my Urban Decay Demolition 24/7 Glide On Liner, and we are going to line with this and blend out with a matte brown over that. I just really feel like that is the best way to finish off this look, because I don't want to take away from the warmthness of it by putting a wing on it. You guys noticed I'm not really a wing type of girl. I just really like the eye to flow and to be cohesive. I don't want to take away from the artistry personally by just slapping a wing on it. My opinion, feel free to have your own. So I'm going to do that, blend it out with a brown using a very small pencil brush like this guy. So this is probably the smallest brush that we've used. They're usually very small and tight so that they help blend things out, things like liners. And so this is really a detailing brush, so it's not something that you would use to blend out. You just use it to blend out a liner, build some black on the outer corner, maybe smudge out your lower lash line, but this is not something you'd use to blend out colors like we've been doing, okay? So I'm gonna use that and apply some mascara and my lashes, and I will be back. Okay, I'm all done. Let me zoom you guys out. There we go. Right? My hair is a mess. First of all, Jovi, stop your music. Okay, great. So this is the finished look right here. Main focus of this video was the eyes, so I thank you guys so much for trying this out with me. I feel like I want to focus more on the teaching part of it. I want you guys to really understand the thought process that goes behind the brushes that are picked. Because for eyeshadow, yes, you need high quality, very nice eyeshadows, but you also need to understand the brushes and the reasoning behind it. So I hope that you guys like this video. I will be doing more videos like this, like contoured focus, foundation application focus, or why I choose the things that I choose. I've been getting requests for things like that, and I feel like it's important. Let's take it back to teaching. Let's go back to the basics. So this is the finished look right here. I'll have all of the details as far as foundation, primer, and things like that I chose. Sorry, I'm rushing because I gotta go. I have like an appointment that I don't want to miss. Obviously, I need it. So I will put all that in the link below. And stay tuned for other things. I really do hope that you guys like this video. Please don't forget to comment, hit the thumbs up, share the video, go to Instagram, like the pictures that I post, and I will see you guys next time.